All right, in this explainer, we're cracking open one of the most foundational texts there is. We're going to trace the epic stories of the book of Genesis, all the way from the creation of the universe to the beginning of a single family that's destined to become a nation.
Okay, let's just dive right in. The entire story, everything that's about to unfold, kicks off with this one single powerful sentence. It's the line that sets the cosmic stage for everything else.
So the story starts in, well, darkness. The earth is described as being without form and void. But what follows isn't chaos. It's actually this incredibly methodical 6-day process of bringing order to everything, creating light, life, and land out of that primordial state.
And what's really cool is you can see how each day builds on the one before it. It's all so logical. First, the basics, light and dark, then the sky, then you get dry land and plants. Only after that whole framework is in place do the sun and moon show up on day 4. Day 5 fills the water and skies, and it all comes to a head on day 6 with land animals and, finally, humankind. So, after these 6 days of intense cosmic work, the creation story wraps up by setting up a day of rest. And this isn't just about taking a break. The 7th day is specifically blessed and made holy, setting a pattern of work and rest that you see echoed throughout the rest of the text. Okay, so now the camera, so to speak, zooms way in. We go from creating the whole universe to focusing on a single garden, and here we meet the first man and woman, Adam and Eve. They're living in paradise with just one single rule. There's one tree whose fruit they are absolutely forbidden to eat.
And here is the central conflict, laid right out for us. It's a choice between two totally opposite claims. On one hand, you have God's command, which is super direct and comes with a warning of death, and on the other, the serpent's temptation, which flat out denies it and offers godlike knowledge instead. This is the moment the entire story pivots on. And the fallout from that choice, man, it's immediate and it's specific to everyone involved. The serpent gets humbled, cursed to crawl on its belly. For the woman, life will be marked by pain and childbirth. For the man, it's a life of hard labor, working cursed ground just to get food. And the big one for all of humanity, they're kicked out of paradise.
You know, the consequences of knowing good and evil just keep spiraling outwards almost instantly. The first 2 children born outside the garden, Cain and Abel, have the first sibling rivalry, which explodes into the first murder. And when Cain is confronted, he hits back with this famously defiant question. That act of violence from Cain? Well, it's a pretty dark preview of what's coming. The story describes humanity just spiraling deeper into corruption until the whole earth is filled with violence. And this is what sets the stage for a massive, world-changing event, a great flood.
But in the middle of all this darkness, there's this one guy, Noah, who's described as just and finds grace. He's given what sounds like an impossible job: build a gigantic ark and gather his family, plus 2 of every animal, to survive the flood and basically restart life on Earth.
And if you want to get a sense of just how massive this cataclysm was, think about this number, 150. For 150 days, the floodwaters covered everything. A total and complete submersion of the world as they knew it.
So here's how it all went down, step by step. It kicks off with a crazy 40-day rainstorm. Then comes that long 150-day period where the water is just everywhere. Finally, the ark lands on a mountain. After waiting a bit and sending out birds to see if it's safe, Noah and everyone else on board finally step out onto dry land.
So after this total reset of the world, a promise is made. God makes a covenant not just with Noah, but with all of humanity and every living thing. The rainbow becomes the permanent sign, the token of this promise, to never again destroy the world with a flood. All right, next up is a story that's pretty short, but wow, is it influential. It's the story that tries to explain how humanity, which was all united by one language at this point, got fractured into all the different peoples and nations we see in the world. So you have all of humanity settled in one place, and they decide to build a city with a massive tower to make a name for themselves and stay together. But in this story, this act of ambition is seen as a challenge. So in response, God confuses their language. Nobody can understand each other anymore, and that confusion is what directly causes them to scatter all over the world. After explaining how all the peoples of the world got scattered, the narrative lens zooms in, like way in. We go from the story of all humankind to the story of just one man, Abram, and a special promise that's going to shape the destiny of his entire family line.
And this right here, this is the key. It's what unlocks the whole rest of the book. It isn't just a casual promise, it's a formal, binding agreement, a covenant. God promises to give Abram, who later becomes Abraham, a whole chunk of land and to make his descendants a great nation.
And you won't believe it, but this brand new promise is put to the ultimate test, like right away. Abraham is commanded to sacrifice his son Isaac, the very son who is supposed to be the key to that whole promise of descendants. Isaac's innocent question on the way up the mountain it's absolutely heart-wrenching. But the covenant holds. The promise is passed down from Abraham to Isaac, and then it goes to Isaac's son Jacob. The rest of Genesis then follows Jacob's family, showing how his 12 sons become the heads of the 12 tribes that will eventually form the nation of Israel. And that's how the book of Genesis closes. It's not really an ending, is it? It's a beginning. A covenant has been made and tested, a family has grown into the seed of a nation, and they're standing right on the edge of their future. The book leaves us with this huge question, setting the stage for everything that's about to happen next.